Hello everyone, this is Jurgita with Magic Pan Crafts, and today is April 1st, and it's again a start for my another monthly video vlogging. So what you see in front of you are all projects that I'm planning to touch, some more, some less, but overall this is what I've got. There might be one round robin this month. We're probably going to be starting this month to do round robin. If you don't know it or forgot about it, it's where a group of like usually four sends their pieces in a circle, sort of like a stitching part, and we pick a small individual things or like a part of a little bit bigger whip that everybody's gonna stitch, and at the end we have more pieces done and stitched by somebody else. Also, I keep forgetting to say welcome if you're first time stumbling on my videos, and I hope you enjoy and like it and will continue. And those who's been with me for those years, especially from beginning, I'm glad that you like it, and commenting on the videos, it's really heart touching. So speaking of hearts, this is what I've started yesterday, the last day of March, and it's from 2019 Just Cross Stitch magazine, and it's by Doreen Jones, and as you can see, it's practically everything's going to be done in different specialty stitches. More specifically, it's going to be mostly like a roads, different type of stitching. So this is what I've done, and only yesterday, and I'm gonna be continuing working, maybe even finish in April, because I'm trying to get rid of my magazines as much as possible, and just picking something that I really like from them and then stitching throughout this year. So that's one of the first ones, and it's gonna be just like 5 by 5 inches, so it's not very big. So that's one of the projects that I'm planning to stitch. Next, I'm hoping to finish at least this part is also tiny, but I haven't touched it, and it's what do you call that? Hard scissor spool, and I had made mistake, and luckily at the Needlework Galleria, I met with a designer there, and she told me what I did wrong, so I took the mistakes out, and now I can continue. And the part that was confusing to me is how this is going to be like a folded over, and you have to stitch different way. So there's that part, and there's also like scissor fob to stitch. So right now I'm just concentrating on this, and it's not a lot left to do, but it's something different that I've never done before, so it was kind of stumbling thing. The next thing in this Q-snap that's very tiny to do is Chimera's raindrops on the lashes, if you translate that in English. And I'm doing them in a 10 stitch, first time on this kind of fabric, which is 25 count easy grid Lugana. So I'm gonna be working some on that, and of course like filling in all that stuff. Then another piece that I was working quite a bit in the March is this Riolis egg kit, and I want to finish stitching my strip here. So as you can see, it's kind of getting along quite well. It's not a lot of work to do. Then after all the cross stitch is done, then it's gonna be back stitching and some beading and stuff like that. So I'll be working on that. Don't know how long it's gonna take, but it's on 25 count over 1, so it's a small stitches. Then I have my dimensions kit. Coral peony, so I'll be working on that and just continue going further in. As you can see, there's new flowers coming out in this area, so I'll be working on that. My new start in this big frame is going to be Mirabilia's Dressmaker's Daughter, and that fabric is what was recommended by designers, so it's going to be my new start. And my daughter fell in love with the design and requested me to stitch that, so I'm very happy to do that. Then it's going to be my beloved restart. I was doing heights on a 14 count half stitch, and now I picked a smaller pattern and by Astra, and smaller size. So I'm gonna be doing this. I'm sure I can finish the corner there, and I don't know if I'm gonna start a new row or not, but that's one of other whips. Then my one of the biggest is girl ghost. So as you can see, I'm stitching on Luca's 25 count fabric, goblin, I guess, goblin it's called, and the total stitches for that is 406,000. So I'm doing half stitching in here, and at the half mark, I think that's a little bit of the girl's like hair supposed to start. So that's what I want to touch. And of course, my monthly must stitch is my spoiled child. So as you can see, it's already again not just the wall done in here, but we're gonna have a little bit more like a darker colors in the furniture starting in there. So I need to do at least about 4,000 stitches for that. So these are my big plans for the month of April. We'll see how I can accomplish all of that, and I don't know what I'm gonna get for round robin, but we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe I'll throw something else in, you never know, or replace one of those, but hopefully not. So that's what I'm gonna be working on. I haven't decided what I'm gonna pick to work on today, but once I choose, you're gonna see that. Stay tuned. So I've decided to start my month of April with my monthly stitch of 37 plus 100 of a spoiled child. And what I can see from a pattern, that is going to be a little bit more of the shelves, and there's going to be something like a sticks here going on with what look like sort of like onions hanging off it or something like that. So there's going to be something more interesting happening than what it was previously. So just need to finish drawing my lines for easier counting, and then I can start stitching. So I'm gonna be sitting with this for I don't know, 4 or 5 days probably total. So we'll see how that goes, and might in between grab my little projects to work on. So you'll see that too. So this is what it looks like now, and in a second you'll see something more. Well, 7 almost full long days, and I finally went over the 4,000. Didn't want to stop, so got a little bit in the next section. So you see all is filled in, and that was a little bit more of confetti stitching in here, but you can clearly see that the things are hanging and the sticks here with the shadows, and the shadow happening underneath those lines here, and there was only sky. So that's all done. I went past 26%, so I'm a tiny bit ahead of my plan, but not by much, because I think last month I did not go a lot over. I think I was a little bit short, but the next section where what I'm gonna do is gonna be just starting the top of ladies hat bonnet, or what would you call it, and this I need to finish by June. So my plan was 1 row in the 6 months, and so far I'm doing good. So lots of the wall was, so it was much easier to stitch than this bigger confetti stumbled, and I'm sure when I'm going below it's going to be even more confetti-ish. But this is what I think I'm gonna stop and probably gonna set aside until May. So May is gonna have a half of it at least, and then June I'm gonna finish that section. So it's mostly gonna be that commode piece of furniture, so more of like a verticalish lines in the color wise. So that's where I'm gonna stop with my spoiled child. And since all of those drabby colors and the weather outside is tomorrow night, I think it's supposed to reach a freezing point again outside, so it's not fun, lots of rain. I've decided to go ahead and get something more of a color. So like you remember, I was talking to you about working on some smaller pieces like a daily or so on throughout the month. So this is my Riolis egg, and this is the band area that I'm gonna be stitching. So this year I did a lot of the stitching, practically all of that. It was done, so I'm just gonna continue filling in area. I think pretty much all of the stitches done in this section. Still gonna be some back stitching needed, so I'm gonna be working slowly on this in April, and we'll see where it leads me. And besides that, I want to start tomorrow another whip, and let me pull that one out. And I want to continue on something more brighter to cheer myself up more. So it's Dimensions Coral Peonies. And the total stitching is almost 34,000 going to be in this project. So as you can see, I've done a corner here without all the back stitching. So far I'm just stitching main parts with the crosses and halves. So you can kind of tell where the halves are. So I think I'm just going to continue going that way, kind of at the angle. We'll see. You can see kind of greenery in this area and here, and I already started very tip of that flower, big one, and want to do about the 2000. So we'll see how it goes in this one, and I just pick a color and continue going until it's all done, so I don't need to leave a parking in here. I'm gonna try to do that as much as possible because I like how it looks without the hanging threads. So that's where I'm gonna concentrate on little egg part stitching and this one in the next several days until I do those 2000 stitches. So I'll come back in a second for you to see how it looks then. And I've managed to reach 2000, so let's move this out of the way. What's it supposed to look like and what it looks like right now. So as you can see, I decided to go ahead and start the next flower. I'll put this here. So next flower started filling in here, and I even put in some back stitching in here, kind of outline where I knew for sure that there's no empty spaces left, but then I had to stop because I can't continue in there. So I'm gonna be continue doing like something like this when I filled in like around here, so I can finish this flower. But just started in here some petals and continued with the leaves. As you can see, leaves gonna go all the way there, and that's where the new flower area is gonna start, like that one. So I did my my plan for the April month, or every 2 months that I'm planning to do. So I passed actually I passed the 2000. I think I made like 2500, and as you can see, some of them are still like a half stitches, especially here you can see of the half stitching. But I'm happy I did my plan, and I can finally put that aside. So let me show you what I'm pulling next one from my bigger works. And my next one is gonna be a pattern by Chimera, and it's called by translation like raindrops on lashes, eyelashes. And I'm stitching it first time on a 25 count easy grid Lugana, and I'm doing that in the half stitches. So pattern is 350 by 350, so it's going to be square, and I'm doing as a half stitches, and I'm going like my top leg would be, so pointing this way, because all the, how to point it out, all those like raindrops are falling from that way, so I figured those lines would go nicely same way. So it's not gonna be humongous amount of color. It's 60 symbols, 53 pure colors, and 7 blends, so it's not too bad. And as you can see, I did just a tiny bit just to kind of kick off the start, and then left it aside. So again, my goal is to do between 1500 and 2000 of stitches, and that would be half stitches. So hopefully that's not gonna take forever. And I haven't stitched on this type of fabric since I started it this last year. So again, I have to remember where the gray lines go. Is that, I think it's on the first one, and again the first one, like in all the places. So this is what it looks like it's scattered up a few colors, and then I'm gonna be just, I think, continue filling in this portion, which is what, 1 2 3 4 5. So this would be kind of like 2500 stitches square, but we'll see how I decide to go. Maybe I'll just continue until all the thread is gone, but that's where I'm gonna be sticking to for the next at least few days, if not more. So you'll see in a second what it becomes. And here we are. Today is the 12th, and yesterday I stopped working on this piece, so I did a little bit more than I was planning to again. And you can kind of already see the raindrops like coming down this way, so it's not as boring as somebody was saying about like when I was doing my George, that it was just some kind of an understanding mix. So here you see something is happening in here. So the face is or a hood is gonna start somewhere like only in there. But I was also looking, and I remember seeing in one of the stitchers YouTube videos that she adds at least a couple extra stitches on all the sides, sort of the same thing, extending for the framing purposes, because I was looking and the picture is going to be fairly close to the top. So if you have to hide some stitches, that might be too close. So I might have to reconsider and add few more rows, at least to the top, to kind of give a little bit more space for that. I haven't decided about that yet, but this is where I've decided to stop. So it was like a 4,000 stitches done, and of course I started with filling out a space, and then took a little chunks in here and there. So it's not, comparatively not a lot done, but it's enough to see something happening in here, and it's all filled in. And as you can see, I just left hanging threads on this side because I'm about to start stitching on those. But in the bottom, I just was extending. You can see where the line, the gray line I'm using as my first stitch. So the gray line goes like a little bit above here, so I was going below that to stitch, kind of mix it in so it wouldn't be flat line. So this one I've decided to stop for this month, and I pulled out a little bit more to work on my Riolis egg, and I'll show you. And here it is. So as you can see, I moved already last night actually my framing to the left side to finish this part, because I finished all of that part except those beading areas that's gonna be in, and that I might do later on. But all the back stitching is already done on those two parts, and I had to double check a couple areas just to make sure that I was not mistaken, because you can kind of see that red colors going over like a green green leaves, and it just didn't make much sense. But I checked and double checked, and the number seemed like it's same as supposed to be. And then the golden thread in here, I was at first a little bit confused how many need to use, although it said to use one of all of the threads, but that golden thread was splitting into 3. So at first I started stitching only with one split, because it was like a two threads they're given, and I thought, oh, maybe it might not be enough. So I decided to try and split, but it was turning out very kind of thin, skinny only outline. So decided to use the whole thing, and I almost finished with the first one, and you can see both parts are done. So I'm gonna need only for that one, so that's gonna be enough. I'll show you more of the threads when I finish this to show you what exactly I meant by that. But this is where I'm gonna be concentrating slowly again, working, just filling in all across this, and then going again, finishing the border and doing all the back stitching. Like this thread is hanging here for the back stitching, so there's gonna be another like a swirl waiting in here. And that's where I do my partially daily piece for that. So since I did a little bit more again today, I'm gonna show you what I've decided to pick for the next few days. And it's gonna be my beloved Allen and Rowan by Del Sessler, and excuse me, and I'm doing this on 16 count, and this is where it's supposed to end the row, and that's what I'm going to be concentrating on working, because the majority is going to be just like finishing his black hair, sort of like in beginning, and then doing the like a gray background. So I'm doing a full stitch in this, and this is what I want to work on. So I'll see you hopefully when all this part is done, but it's looking great. So the pair of ducks is right here. It's raining out, and the lady's here. It's already the 20th evening of April, and let's see how much I've done. I actually done quite a bit. My guests finally left to go home, so I managed to stitch during their visitation for just a while each day. So this is what I have so far done, and practically this much only was done last year, so all of that is done within a few times that I picked it up. And as you can see, this was marked as the middle point in the horizontal line, so that's great news for me that I've reached it. And this line is actually the ghost portion right here, so I'm already in this area right there, and just below the real gonna be real girl, just below that. So the next time I go underneath, and her hair is gonna be somewhere here starting up. So there's some scatter stitches starting even more in there, and this is what it looks like so far in half stitches. It's not going as fast even with no specific like facial features happening, but there's still scatter stitches. I was a little surprised by this area, but double checked even the threads, and it still turned out like that. So you can't see much in here, but it's supposed to be like a line lighter. So decided to stop, and I want to actually pick up something new to start today. Of course, today is not going to be a lot of stitching, but let's see what I've decided to pick. And that's gonna be one of the Mirabilias. It's called Dressmaker's Daughter. So you see that's a picture of four outfits on the stands, and each represent different season. So spring and summer are in the middle, and I already have a fabric marked in the middle, so it's going to be in between those. I figured that it would be great by the end of the season to finish one season. I know it's still April, but it's end of April and only 1 month of spring left, so I might as well start on the summertime piece. So this is where I'm gonna start from this area. This is gonna have quite a bit of everything. First of all, it's for my daughter, and she chose the original suggested fabric, which is gonna be 32 count milk chocolate, and gonna be stitching over two. It will have 36 DMC colors, two types of cryining, number 4, 5 types of Karen water lilies. Right now I have only 3. I forgot buy other 2, so luckily I don't need right now to stitch with that, so I can start. You can see this blue is going to be used for summer dress. There's going to be 19 types of regular Mill Hill beads and 5 Mill Hill treasures. You see some of that only in here. And the pattern is 310 by 200, and the total stitches might be just over 46,000. So it's gonna be stitched for a while, at least a year probably if I go with the seasons. So that's where I'm gonna start, and mark the middle, and that's gonna be somewhere here. So just gonna go in here, and I'll meet you in a few days, I guess, for me to see how it's going. And it's already 24th of April, and I've stopped yesterday to work on this. So as you can see, practically the whole summer dress is done, and this is a background that would be surrounding the dress. The dots that you see in between, like a little holes, are the places where the beads are gonna be, and you see like a neckline in here of the stand, and there's gonna be some in here beads more in there, and I haven't done a back stitching also, and the stand is in this cutout. So when you look at the whole thing, so let me kind of zoom in. So you see that this dress is actually on the left part a little bit and not a right one. When you look at the middle, it's because we talked to my daughter, and she decided she wants to start the row with the spring, so it would be spring, summer, autumn, and fall. So that's how we're gonna do. So instead of starting on the left with the spring, I started on the left with the summer. So it's gonna move a little bit, and when you put it all together, the dress length is gonna kind of go down and down. Like you start the spring with the shorter, then the summer mid, and then you go a little bit in autumn, and then winter dress is going to be on the bottom, so it's going to be like an angle. So that's where I'm gonna stop, and this is about the third of the whole summer part. So I figured if I could do about like a 3,500 or so stitches a month, I could do that each part in within one season. So that's where I'm leaving it. And also besides that, I worked a bit more on my Riolis egg, and I'm gonna show you that now. And ta-da, it's actually all done. Just finished literally like a few minutes ago, putting in last of the beading, and even like I initialed and put the this year. Though I don't know if I'll be able to finish beading around the like FFO wing around the egg this year, but at least my stitching is done. So this is what it looks like right now with all back stitching done. It still kind of boggles my mind that some red stitches are outlining leaves, but I guess that would make it more standing out, like a red veins in it. So this is what it's looking like right now, and I still have plenty of threads left for that. I think you can do the second egg too if I wanted to. I probably could have moved that a little bit up and do like 2 things. And when I measured, it kind of also is good size for if you want to have a wristband, something like this, to make it around your wrist. That would be something about that size too. At least it fits around my wrist. So this is where I'm gonna leave it. I don't know when I'm gonna get to the FFO wing, because you have to like cut it a little bit more, fold it, and then put around the egg, and only then I guess start beading. So that I'm gonna brave sometime later, but not right now and definitely not within the next few weeks probably. So that's where I'm stopping with this one and a dress. And I've decided, since I have about 6 days till the end of the month, I'm gonna try to finish something else, and that something will be my magazine piece, a heart sampler by Doreen Jones, which I started, I think, last month. And this is a peek what it should look like. So I followed the instructions what to use, and I'm using also 28 count fabric that I had in my stash, and the same threads. So let's see where I'm gonna start off. And this is what it looks like as of right now before I start. So if you saw in the picture, all these threads are a little bit brighter, lighter color than what I have it in here. So I guess photographer got a little bit more bleached, not bleached out, but lighten up all the colors. So this is what I'm getting from the colors of DMC. Maybe Sullivan's would be different, but I doubt it. So anyway, this practical whole thing is specialty stitches and back stitching. So there's still quite a bit left to do, and I'm gonna continue, and we'll see. Maybe I'll pick something else and do this in between like I did my Riolis egg, and I'll get back to you when I have some progress on this one. Well, it's already late evening on the 27th, and I wanted to show you my finish. Yay, finally finished. I didn't think it's gonna take that long to do it, and I guess I was just slowly doing it. Once you get into the habit of knowing like how many to start, like how many to the left and up to do the first stitch, then it becomes easier. So let's look at this one and compare to what picture was showing me. So you can kind of see the lights. Also, I want to tell you that if you're gonna do the same same pattern, that there's some clarities I want to give you with the with the pattern what was given, and I saw some differences to what was like in the picture and the pattern. First of all are those like French knots in the corners. There were supposed to be like those three big ones, supposed to be this lighter color, but is different, and like here it was supposed to be, I think, in a dark color is different. They're also in a few spots. Maybe I'll show you on the real thing. Maybe it's easier to see. On a few spots, those three French knots in a row, there's only marked like a 2. So I did not notice that in the beginning, and I stitched 2, and then I'm looking like there's like 3s and 3s and 3s, and there's a couple places that were with the 2s. So I had to go back and add those French knots too. So color wise, I mean, you can, I guess you can choose your own colors, whichever you want it. But like I said, what was marked on the pattern and what was shown in the picture that's done is slightly different. And of course the color variation. So this is what my DMC colors came up with, and like totally in a darker darker palette versus lighter palette looking in here, much softer colors in the picture. So if you like this one, then I guess those colors should suffice for you. I also did my tiny initials here, and the year 22, so it's kind of hard to see. I guess you have to search for it to see in the whole thing, but I love the 3D look. Sadly, my fabric seems like it was a little problem here, and I didn't notice when I started. But all this 3D look, when you look at the stitches from a side, you can see those hearts are popping out, and I think backstitching is also gives a little bit different the feel of the whole thing, and all those little roads, hearts, and what was that other stitches, diamond eyelets, they're kind of mixed in, like you can't tell, but there's like a diamonds here in a darker color, but then lighter ones are surrounding it. So it's same in here, and like I said, there's very little cross stitches done. Practically all those, just the little borders here and there that full excess. Rest of it is a specialty stitches, back stitching, and um, French knots. So since I'm not afraid of doing French knots, it was no biggie for me. It's just like you have to figure out how you're gonna start somewhere, like if you want to do French knot in here, because I'm trying not to drag it throughout, so I had to secure it well. So very happy it's done. It took me, of course, longer than I was planning to, but it's done, and I can put this magazine aside. So since that one is done, we can close it up. Ta-da! Then I decided, since I have a couple more days in April, I'm gonna pull out this. Somehow this color palette was just drawing my eye versus going back to my dreary brownish blackish colors. So I'm gonna do this pattern, and let me remind you again what it should look like. And it should look like this, the whole thing. So right now I have a 21.03% done, so it's not a lot, and it's pretty big size. So I want to crack up on this a little bit more. It would be great to give that as a gift to my mother. She loves peonies flowers just like me, and or I guess I should say I love it just like her. And I'll be just probably continuing, just going maybe in the flowers here, so kind of moving towards the right and a little bit of down to continue. So since I have only a couple of days and Stitch Mania is coming up, end of the month reviews, I'll be doing some more filming, but until then, I guess I'll try to put in some more stitches in here, and I'll see you, I guess, in a second. And this is the end of April, the last day actually, nearing the midnight into May 1st, so I'm rushing to finish this video. And as you can see, my flower grew by about a couple thousand stitches more, so it's practically all of that was just a plain excess, and I filled up a little bit with the half stitches here, and that's all that I worked on. And I'm happy to say that right now the whole thing, I have a 27.1% done, so that's exciting. So happy to work on that a little bit more. I could have done more, but today I put in literally like 20 stitches only, and I didn't have time to stitch anymore, which is strange. So overall, I calculated in my the notebook, and actually it seems like each month my stitches are going, amount total is going down a bit, but that's okay. It's still about 3/4 of all the totals, at least in April, was put towards my big projects, like a full coverages, so that's good. That's all what I wanted. So like a 5,000 was towards the smaller projects, you know, not the full coverages. I'm including this in the bigger ones because there's still full coverage and pretty big sizes. You can see by my hand, kind of it keeps going and going, and there's a little bit still underneath. We have about here, I think, where is the midpoint is in the height. So I'm gonna stop with this, and it's gonna come back again in May. To say shortly, in May I have about 10 projects planned. 3 of them are gonna be new, and one of them is round robin, which I received just a few days ago, so that's gonna be exciting. Starting kicking red robin a few months later than I was originally it was planned, and I'm okay with that as long as we do it this year. So there's only few of the whips that are gonna be not main part of Mania, but I'm including that because I needed to stitch on that. And like I said, the 3 newbies gonna be, and so there's gonna be like 3 different size of things. So I'm not expanding too much on the Mania. I want to have since it's about, let's say, roughly 30 days, so about what it would be like a maybe 8 10 whips that I want to keep to work on each Mania. I don't want to do like a daily, like I have a 30 stars, because what I'm trying to do is what I started in May, I want to work in May also every year until it's fully finished. Of course, I'm gonna pull out throughout the year too, but during May I have to I want to pull out those whips to work on. So there's gonna be all kinds of different size whips that coming back from last May that I haven't finished yet. And like I said, a few new ones I'm adding, so maybe total it will be like a 14 total things to work for next year, maybe, or maybe not, we'll see. So I'm very happy that, like I said, to have done more on this flower. It was during those rainy days and storming. It was fun to stitch on something brighter. Actually, yesterday, turns out there's like about 12 kilometers away from me. It was 2.7 earthquake. And since we had kind of rain, I just thought that the sound was like thundering somewhere. So I did not feel any earth move. I was running with the dog and didn't pay attention to that. So that's all excitement I have. Today I worked a lot on like a cutting, finish cutting, and drilling through my upcoming like a new frames that I'm making for stitching. I'll add a picture in a second to show you my lineup of those. I'm doing horizontal ones because on the sides I'm gonna have metal rods, so I didn't need to do the sides like this. So next is gonna be polishing off and making sure that I wouldn't get any splinters for that, and plus the fabric to protect. So I'm gonna be working on that hopefully this upcoming week. It depends on the weather because I want to do that outside due to wood dust, and slowly gathering like a pictures to maybe to if somebody is gonna be interested in seeing tutorial how to make cheap good frames, sturdy enough, not like this, like this one doesn't hold well enough for me, even with the sides kind of trying to stretch her out. So I'm trying out something different. So write down in the comments if you wanna learn how to do that. I know I didn't show you full picture what's supposed to look like, but if you've been following me and watching how I'm stitching my girl ghost, that was my first try in making a frame, and that's some adjusting some things a little bit to make it more comfortable for me, and maybe that will be more helpful for you too. So anyway, long story short, tired and I'm ready to set this aside and get ready for May to start, and hopefully May is going to be bringing more flowers, not just those, but outside too. And I'm gonna see you next month. Then until then, this is Jurgita saying bye bye.